My Minecraft world is deleting itself. Have I seen this before? By
Weird
wifeys?
missing block glitch is the first of many videos uploaded to a
No.
channel called Nights. The channel is sparse, no profile
I haven't.
picture, a
Oh, I
blank
haven't. Oh, I haven't.
and only these 8 videos. But these videos aren't normal. They're videos of a player haunted by a world that is deleting itself. A
What the
world
fuck?
that holds secrets into one of the strangest stories the internet has ever seen. And the only way to solve it is to watch the first video, where it
Watch
seems
the
like
first-
whoever
okay.
we're watching is giving us a lay of the land, showing us around their Minecraft world. We
Okay.
catch a glimpse of their house and a small
Very
castle
nice.
off
Hey,
to the
that's
side.
just
and
that
then
the iconic Minecraft castle. The Hitbridge lock with the sword. We don't talk about it.
something a bit odd. If you blink, you might miss it, but take a look at this scenery. In the distance, there is a single tree with only one leaf. We have no reason to
Maybe
believe
Minecraft
this
generation.
isn't just man-made, but it feels weird, especially considering all the normal trees around it. But this is hardly the strangest part of the video. As our protagonist keeps walking, he runs into this, a gaping chunk of
the fuck?
void. This hole extends all the way to bedrock, and even stranger all around it, our main character runs into some half cut down trees. Again, these could have been man-made, but why? Why not mine
yeah.
the full tree, and why leave it like this? Our player hesitantly goes down into the chunk, and I guess
Why don't we
after
just
being
Why don't we just fall into the water, man?
spooked, heads back to the surface only to find that a giant hole has now appeared in front of their house.
What the
They
hell?
freak out, and the video ends. This hole wasn't there before, and what
Okay.
caused it is completely unknown, but clearly our character was spooked, leaving the
Hero
world
Brian, that's
almost
crazy.
immediately. They did
Isn't this the type of? Isn't this the version where Hero Brian got popular and the infamous Hero Brian spotting happened?
didn't do this to their world,
Hmm.
so who or what did?
Who
There are a
did?
few more things about this video though that I didn't point out at first.
The
For
shaders,
one, on
yeah.
the walk back to the house, our main character encounters a tree with a missing block. But
Yeah.
judging by how he reacts, filling the gap, we can assume that he wouldn't leave a tree like this, and this also wasn't him. Just another weird oddity of blocks seemingly disappearing in this world. Another thing that's strange is the lack of bedrock. Both of the holes we've seen so far have had no bedrock at the bottom. For some reason, this world lacks
Give me a second.
The description. Weird missing blocks in mine and Danny's world. Not sure if this is something that just happens, but I thought I'd put it here and
Don't
see
inhale
if
the mic.
anyone knows. Mason Knight 77. Now we have a name for whoever's channel, Mason, and we get confirmation that he doesn't know what's going on here either. We're also introduced to someone named Danny. Apparently he shared this world with Mason, but we're still totally in the dark about what's going
Really?
on and why holes into the void are appearing all over this world. For that, we have to watch video number 2. The video It Gets Worse leaves little to the imagination about what's to come. Mason leaves his house again, and we can see that 2 new holes have formed
the
in his
fuck?
world. One in the far corner, and one eating up part of the
Oh,
castle.
man, the
Mason
castle,
looks around and
the
peers
castle.
down the various holes.
Oh
He's
my
probably
God, the
scared
castle.
and confused, and yet again, there's no bedrock to be seen. But as he approaches the hole, we notice something
Look at the
odd.
trees.
There's no leaves on this tree. This
That's
tree
odd
isn't
tree.
caught in any chunk areas, but for some reason, half its leaves are totally gone, just like the tree we saw in episode 1. And
There's some
not to
odd
mention, this
trees.
time there are strange holes dug into the ground below it. For some unknown reason,
The
more
hell?
and more blocks are slowly disappearing from this world, and Mason is trapped inside. Mason then heads to the
You're not.
castle and begins to repair
To
the
be
ground.
honest, you're not trapped, man. You can just easily delete this world and create another one.
And then the castle itself. The video cuts to Mason getting more materials from his chest before heading back
Knuckles
to
is getting
continue the
silly.
repairs. He finishes repairing the castle, but as he turns around, he sees it. A new hole opened up right
What the
behind
fuck?
him. In between Mason walking back and finishing the castle repairs, there were no cuts in the video. No time for someone to dig this chunk out. This happened as Mason was online, just like we saw in episode 1.
The fuck
Probably
happened?
frightened, Mason goes to investigate, looking around frantically, peering down the hole, and then we get this.
Whoa.
All of a sudden, all the leaves around Mason disappear, leaving the
Whoa.
trees bare just as we saw before.
What the fuck?
This is terrifying. The
What
world
the
is
fuck?
disintegrating around Mason in real time. But why?
Why?
What's behind this disappearance and why is it doing this? The description of this video doesn't tell us much, essentially exactly what we just saw unfold. However,
Mason
we
needs
do
to play
learn
with
that
his
this
friend,
castle is
true.
specifically Danny's and not Mason's. As for the rest of what's going on
Where's
here,
Danny's though? Where is Danny, man? Bro is nowhere to be found.
we're still very much in the dark, and video 3 is a bit strange. A new world begins with the generating title screen, but it seems cut up, since right after supposedly generating the world, Mason, or whoever we're watching, already has pretty advanced items. So
Oh, shit,
this world
nice.
was definitely
got
played
silver
through
blood.
quite a bit between what we just saw, and at least from the terrain we
Bro went to get, yeah, David went to get milk and never came back.
can see, it seems like a totally different world
Just
than
like
what
my
Mason
dad.
was just showing us.
My
Mason
God.
walks around for most of the video before planting a rose and looking out over a lake.
Damn,
this
that's so
video
pretty.
also has a song playing in the background.
Oh, it's the Minecraft default song. What's that in the distance? I saw something in the distance. What the fuck was that?
C418's Danny. The video is simple but weird, and it seems very out of
Oh.
place. For one thing, why
Is it David or Danny?
the cut between generating world and getting all of these items? It just doesn't make sense to me to cut out all the progress and only give us this. And for
Blink and
another,
you miss it.
why the rose and the music? To me though, maybe this is simply
It's
meant
Danny,
to be
okay.
Mason's single player world, a way to escape from the horrors happening
What
in the
is
world
Danny?
he shares with Danny. This is his peaceful reverie away from it all, but the next video is the polar opposite. It seems
Whoa,
that
what the
Mason is
fuck?
back on his and Danny's world, and he's not going down without a fight. All the leaves near Mason's house
What am I
are
looking
now
at?
gone, and he's not in a good mood about it. Mason punches a sheep and a chicken
Oh
before
shit! Back in the day, you punch a sheep and then it just drops wool.
walking to the back of his house
Really?
and showing us a giant crevasse. This is the big
Now you piss me off. Did you just really say crevasse? I'm checking the comment section. Really? Crevasse? Can't you just say crevice? God, now you pissed me off, man. Now I'm pissed for the whole video. No, I can't be immersed anymore. No way, you just said
biggest
crevasse.
hole we've seen form yet, implying that the disintegration is only getting faster.
It's
In a rage,
crevice.
Mason slaughters all the chickens perched by his base, almost as if he's fighting back against the world itself, and he discovers another chunk with random holes that seem
What?
to go nowhere, as if the chunk is
Oh.
preparing to be deleted. Enraged, Mason returns home, grabs TNT, and begins exploding the chunk over and over
What?
and over again, as if he thinks that it's his world that's out to get him and he's going to fight back by hurting the world itself. But his efforts are in vain, and after detonating almost all his TNT, Mason turns around to find that another chunk of the castle has been deleted right behind him. The world is also
can't see
fighting
jack
back,
shit,
and
man.
it's fighting harder.
Can't see
Mason
jack shit.
drops his last TNT into the newly formed hole and returns home, slaughtering all the mobs stationed outside once again,
Oh, that's a creeper.
accidentally blowing up his
Oh,
house
what the
and
fuck?
finally returning to bed in defeat. This isn't a victory, but it seems like Mason has
Just
a change
outrage.
of heart, since in the next video things are quite different. The video titled Repairs consists of Mason doing just that, repairs. The world around him has gotten
Oh,
even
shit,
worse,
did he
but
just
Mason
relapse?
doesn't seem to be mad anymore.
Just- bro,
Instead,
just
he
relapse,
grabs a
man.
bunch of dirt and cobblestone and patches up both
People are asking who is Danny. No one asks how's Danny. That's a poem I'll show my uncle while we're in bed.
the castle and the holes he made in the last
Holy.
video, almost as if he's apologizing to the world for what he did last time. The description seems to confirm this. Mason is making amends with whatever supernatural force is haunting his game. I guess he's hoping that by apologizing, maybe it will just stop
Nope.
taking away land. Mason
Nope.
continues to patch up the castle, but as he brings in some ladders, we notice something odd. A chest. Mason doesn't open this chest, and it wasn't here earlier when Mason was rebuilding, meaning that he placed it sometime during this cut and what we see earlier on.
What
But
the fuck?
why? This is a bit of a weird mystery, and I'm still not really sure what this chest is meant to symbolize, but we can do some deduction to maybe figure out what he put inside.
Maybe?
This is the last glimpse we get of Mason's inventory before the cut, and we can see that it looks pretty normal, nothing that weird. After the cut though, once we know the chest has been placed, Mason's inventory looks like this. Pretty much everything that was originally there is still there, besides the cobble that we know Mason used to rebuild the castle.
Okay.
In fact, there's only 2 items that were
Rose!
lost across the
A
cut.
rose!
The chest, which
The
obviously
rose!
Mason placed inside,
The
and
rose!
weirdly, the rose. Mason picks this rose 20 seconds into the video, and given that it's gone after the cut, we can assume that this is what he placed inside the chest. But if
Yeah.
so, why? What's the significance in placing this rose inside of the chest? And
Yeah,
honestly,
why?
we don't have any actual proof that that's really what he put in the chest. For all we know, he could have put nothing and just replanted or stored the rose somewhere else. Regardless, the rest of the video continues rather calmly.
Okay.
There are more repairs, and Mason goes to bed. By now, we can observe a pattern. Every video we've watched so far, with the exception of the odd New World one, has more and more chunks and leaves
Yeah.
disappearing from Mason's world. He
Kinda
starts
awkward.
confused, tries to run away, tries to fight back, and finally tries to make amends. All to no avail. It just keeps getting worse for him. Throughout all of this, Mason sometimes rebuilds other chunks, but the one thing he keeps rebuilding is Danny's castle. And on the subject, we never
Yeah, it
once get
does.
to meet Danny himself.
Yeah,
but
we never
the
see
cause
Danny.
of the disintegration is still very unknown, and Mason isn't really talkative in any of these videos,
Yeah,
so our
true.
only choice to solve this mystery is to keep watching. The next video,
Border?
titled Border, is pretty much exactly what it sounds like.
What
A
the
border
fuck?
formed around the house and the castle. I don't know why, but it
What
keeps
the
getting
fuck?
worse, and I don't know what to do. Mason gives us a tour, and yeah, it's bad. A giant border of void chunks has now formed
What
all
the
around his
hell?
house and nearby land. The terrain behind it seems to be okay, for now, but it's clear that
Yeah, it's
this
gonna be
area
eight.
Mason lives in is being isolated by the world around it. The entire video consists of Mason walking the perimeter, giving us a tour of the horrors taking over his world. At one point, something catches his eye. Cobblestone, a not naturally occurring block, and he heads down into
What?
the border to explore further. He comes across this weird wall-like
Oh, it's just
structure
water
and
and
studies
lava.
it for a minute, then
No?
leaves. Cobblestone usually implies man-made, but what this structure is very much beyond.
Isn't it
Though
just
given
water
the
and
nearby
lava?
presence of lava and obsidian, it could
Yeah.
be just as easily that this structure was naturally generated when the terrain spliced or was
Yeah.
dug out. We have no idea. As the tour continues, we find out that almost all the trees inside the perimeter have been stripped of their leaves, resulting in
Whoa.
a very haunting and eerie skyline. This
Ew.
area of the world specifically, where Mason's house is being destroyed, which begs an interesting question. Why doesn't Mason just run? Why doesn't he just abandon this house or abandon this world? I mean, typically, if this was your normal player, I don't know why on earth anyone would stay in this world when clearly something is very wrong with it. It
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense to me why Mason is staying amidst all of this happening to him. When Mason does eventually return to his house, we can see that a chunk of land that was there before is now missing.
Again?
More
Oh
corruption,
my
just
God.
as we're used to. Mason goes to sleep again, and this video ends. Things are only
What's
getting
going
worse.
on, man?
More and more blocks keep disappearing,
Holy
and it's
shit.
clear that Mason is powerless to stop it, but the next video takes a very strange turn. But before we get to it, if you are enjoying the video, then please consider subscribing. I'm trying to
I'll
reach
give it a
2 million
like, though.
subscribers by the end of the year, but a lot of
I don't want to
people
subscribe to a lot of people because I don't want my feed to be bamboozled with like a bunch of people that I forgot or I don't know.
end up
I would just delete world until not really fun. Yeah, true. I'll take screenshots and videos of the world actually deleting itself, and I'll just send it to Notch and say, "Hey, my game has a virus. Your game has a ghost. I'm refunding."
videos through and never subscribe. So if you do enjoy these videos and want to see more, just playing Minecraft. No chunks disappear, nothing weird ever
Yeah,
happens.
well,
it's
okay.
just 5 minutes of peace. Except, well, there is one thing. Actually, 2 things. For one thing, 55 seconds into this video, music starts to play.
Is it Danny again? It is Danny again. Same track as
Every other
Danny.
video we see on this channel up to this point has had no music. That is,
Yeah.
every video
You ain't
but one,
paying me.
A New World. In fact, this is the same song that plays in that video as well. Why that song is present in both A New World and here
Is Danny?
unknown, but this video hides a far darker section.
Is Danny a friend that doesn't
Searching
exist?
in the captions of this video, 2 minutes in, we get a random string. This string is a YouTube URL, and adding the correct prefix takes us to an unlisted video on Mason's channel, Escaping to Hell. It's pretty clear that this video takes place after everything
Escaping
we've
to
already
Hell?
seen so far, as Mason's tools have gotten better and the chunks are far worse. Mason
What the
heads
fuck?
to grab obsidian from his chests and constructs a portal in front of his house, but when he enters, we get this. This is extremely surreal. It seems from the fog and textures that all of a sudden we've entered a different version of Minecraft. The text in the top left is gone, and all of a sudden Mason is in creative without any of his items. But of course, let's not ignore the elephant in the room that this is not the Nether.
What the
Instead,
fuck?
there is only a road, a seemingly infinite extending street that
I don't like
Mason
this, I don't like
spawns
this,
in on.
I'm scared.
Mason walks through this
I don't like
eerie
it, I don't like
dimension
it.
until he stumbles across what looks like very poorly built traffic lights. Looking over the crossroad, he continues straight.
I don't like it, I don't
until
like
he
this, I don't
sees
like
it,
this.
A block on the road, then another, then
I
another,
don't like it.
and then stairs, and finally glass panes. Mason freezes, staring for a few seconds
like
before
it.
quickly turning back and running through the portal back to the overworld. On the other side, he has his items again, we're back to normal, and he tears down the portal. And in the corner of his vision, we can see that part of the castle has been destroyed yet
Again?
What in the world did
What
we
the
just
fuck
watch?
is
This
this?
is no longer normal. Not that it ever was, but even this is out of place for this YouTube
Ew,
channel.
I don't
Given
like
how he
it.
was looking around, it seems like Mason didn't build this, but still, what on earth? I don't really know what to tell you. All we can really do is go into the next video where things have somehow gotten even worse. Mason is moving house, and at first it isn't really
Oh
clear
my
why,
God.
but as he looks up, we can see exactly the reason. Half his house was just vaporized by one of the chunk errors, but it isn't just
Holy.
his house. As Mason looks around, we can see that any land past the border is
The
now
world is gone.
The chunks in the distance
Crossroad
are
of hell?
completely as we can see around us. The corruption has spread deep now, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Slowly but steadily, Mason moves all of his stuff into Danny's castle, chest
What?
by chest.
I thought what? I thought you're moving outside of the border. Where the fuck are you? What? What?
Item by item. Interestingly, he still doesn't address the chest he placed in the castle basement, but as he's relocating the last of his torches, we can see it. His house has fully vanished, gone into the void, and nothing but the
Holy
final
fuck.
back wall giving any sign that it ever existed in the first place. Mason looks at it for a few more seconds before curiosity, or maybe longing, gets the best of him, and he goes to say goodbye one last time.
Oh
He visits
my
the pit
God.
that was once his old home and takes it all in, staring longingly into the void before turning to watch the sunset. He stays like this for a while before finally heading home to the castle and sleeping
my God.
once again. At
He
this
doesn't have
point,
experience.
it's pretty clear that Mason feels powerless against whatever is taking control over his world. The haunting
And
does
what?
not seem to be
What?
slowing down, and day by day, more and more blocks are being removed from the world. It's only a matter of time until nothing is left of this world, but we're too far in to stop watching now. We have to see this
Yeah.
story through and find out what's really going on here. It's time for the next video, Hope. The video begins
Oh.
with a stark contrast to last time. Danny's castle is now seemingly the only chunk left of this world, with Mason taking shelter within its walls. We can only guess that there isn't much time left before the world deletes this chunk too once and for all. From the various cobblestone bridges
the fuck
standing
is
out into
going
the void,
on?
we can guess that Mason was
What the hell
bridging
is going
outwards
on,
in hopes
man?
of finding
What
something,
is going
anything
on?
that still exists
Oh
out
my
there. But
God.
apparently it was to no avail. His render distance has decreased, and we watch as he gathers blocks for one final expedition out towards the left. But this time, he finds something. Somehow, in the distance,
The fuck?
Mason catches sight of a chunk that still exists. A chunk that, for some unknown reason, hasn't
Okay.
been deleted. Why?
The hell?
Why has this chunk survived the disintegration when nothing else did? Regardless, Mason
But the castle still chunks is still there, so
can't
you
believe
can't
his
really.
eyes, running back to get more blocks to finish his bridge before finally climbing over the edge to admire the
hell?
intact chunk. It seems like he still can't believe his eyes. Something still exists. There's still
What
hope
the
in
fuck?
saving this world if he can figure out what's special about this chunk. He tries bridging out more but changes his mind, going to mine the tree before again changing his mind and replanting the wood. It seems that he doesn't want to cause any damage to this chunk, to savor it as the final remains of his world. He climbs up to the highest point before being transfixed by the dandelion. He then rushes back to his base and brings over food and a chest. Mason quickly kills the animals that have
shit.
spawned in the new chunk and then makes some sort of odd sacrifice or prayer to the chunk. I'm not really sure what he's
the
getting
fuck?
at, but he fills a chest with items before giving yet another offering. This
What am I
video
looking at?
takes a weird turn, and it seems like Mason is trying to use this chunk as a way to save his world. If he can figure out what makes this chunk special,
What
then
the fuck is
maybe
my
he
looking
thinks he
at?
can bring his world back. As for what
Maybe.
does make this chunk special, I am not really sure. I don't know why this is the one chunk that survived in the void, but I did find something rather interesting. If we trace back to the very first video, remember the weird tree with a missing block that Mason filled in? Well, we can actually line up this shot of the tree with the tree on the surviving chunk, and this shot of the flower confirms it. This is the same tree, the same chunk that Mason interfered with in the first
Bro,
episode.
save the tree.
Whether that actually means something or is just a pure coincidence
Bro,
is
save
up
the
for
tree.
debate, but it seems a bit too good to be true. Either way
Yeah.
though, it doesn't really tell us why this was the chunk that survived the deletion. It's hard to believe Mason did nothing in any other chunk. The next video though gives us some more information. The video is titled Amekania, which after looking it up is the name of the Greek goddess of helplessness. If that doesn't clue you into what's to come, well, you'll see. The video starts with
Where is it
Mason
then?
on the bridge back to the castle,
mean
returning
helpless?
from the surviving chunk. Given the amount of food he pulls out of his chest back home, it seems like he's going to make another offering. Before he does though, Mason begins tearing down his other bridges before finally heading back to the surviving chunk. But when he returns to it, it's gone. The chunk has vanished. The blocks Mason placed are still there, but the chunk itself is totally gone. Deleted.
What?
Clearly, Mason's bargaining wasn't enough. The offerings weren't received. This world clearly isn't done taking things from Mason. Mason, now utterly defeated, looks around helpless, hopeless, as his dreams of saving this world were crushed right before his eyes. He dumps his offering into the void before tearing down this final bridge. There's nowhere else for him to go. Mason
my
heads
God.
back to the base and in one quick motion breaks his chest of cobblestone and takes it all with him. He waits outside, watching as day turns to night before turning to the void and throwing his cobblestone.
Oh, I thought he was gonna
in.
jump.
Block by block, stack by stack, Mason throws his building blocks into the void until there's only one stack left. And he gets rid of that one too. The meaning is obvious. Mason has lost hope. He's given
Yep.
up on bridging anywhere else and escaping this castle in the sky. There's just nowhere for him to go anymore. That surviving chunk was his last thread of hope, and now it's gone. Mason is fully helpless. But as he drops the final stack, he looks up. A tree has just grown. He stares at it for a little before heading to bed and ending the video.
The hell?
This video is a journey of Mason, hopeful about his potential savior to losing it in the blink of an eye, giving up all
Holy.
hope before once again, for a moment, seeming like he isn't going to give up. It's genuinely just sad to watch,
Chills,
but it
man,
still doesn't answer
chills.
what's causing all of this in Mason's world. Why is it that the castle
Yeah, why
hasn't
is
been
Mason?
deleted yet when everything else has?
Is it Danny?
Why did that other chunk take so
Maybe
long
'cause
to
Danny?
delete? And still, what in the world was the meaning of that Nether episode? It
Yeah,
just
that's
doesn't add
creepy.
up.
That's
But
this
there's
is
only
creepy.
one video left in the series, so if there's ever been a time for answers,
Accept-
it's now.
acceptance?
Acceptance begins with Mason heading out of the castle, and we see something interesting. More
Oh.
saplings have been planted. It seems like that tree growing in the last video must have sparked something inside of Mason, because now he looks like he hasn't given up on escaping this void yet. He turns and
Oh.
notices a gap in his fence before going up to fix it, after which he heads back down to look into the void. But suddenly, something switches. Mason runs back inside and grabs his shovel before immediately returning, and after a few moments of hesitation, he begins to destroy. Mason breaks all his saplings before returning to the only one remaining corner of this island and digging it out. Without stopping, he digs the tunnel all the way to the bottom of the void and then back up, but he doesn't stop there. Mason uproots his entire island, mining all of the dirt before starting to destroy the castle too. No blocks are spared, and Mason continues to dig more and more, breaking the entire tower before moving on to the next one. Soon, the entire top half of the second tower is also gone, and Mason pauses, only to then throw his armor into the void as well. He continues to tear down the walls, block after block after block, until all that's left of the entire world is the chest. Mason goes into F5 and looks around, surveying the void around him and watching the clouds, seemingly at peace for the first time in ages.
Naked.
Before looking down, breaking the chest, and falling into the void.
Whoa.
And that's the end of the series. There are no videos left and seemingly no answer of what comes next, what this all means, and why this happened to Mason. All we're left with is a strange, cryptic, and incoherent set of videos. But I do think there is a story here. What we're watching isn't meant to be a surface level playthrough of a
it's like deep muted.
It's a showcase of a human being going through the 5 stages of grief. Ever since he was mentioned in the description of the first episode, Danny hasn't made a single appearance in any of his videos. This was his castle, his world with Mason, but we never see or hear of Danny. But isn't it strange that the only chunk that Mason keeps repairing in this whole series is Danny's castle, not even his own home? Isn't it strange that Mason never leaves this world like any normal player would? I mean, if this happened to you, why would you ever keep playing? Unless this world meant something more to you. Unless this world was the only memory of someone you had lost. And if that was true, wouldn't your first priority be to keep whatever they made intact? To
Danny died!
And preserve their
Danny
memories.
isn't here with us anymore.
Tells a story of Mason going through denial, continuing to play in his world as if nothing was wrong, writing it off as a glitch or a bug. Anger, lashing out against the mobs, blowing up his world and dropping lava into the void to fight back against the disappearances. Bargaining by trying to make amends and pleading with the only thing that he had left to somehow bring his world back, to preserve his memories and then it goes to depression, giving up on ever making it out and throwing away all that he had left before finally acceptance, not letting the world take Danny's castle from him, but instead tearing it down himself, understanding that he can't hold on to the past. Holding on to this world won't bring Danny back. Nothing will. The only thing he can do to heal his wounds is to accept that Danny is gone. And I'll do you one better. The unlisted video, Escaping to Hell, that's Mason telling us that his hell isn't the Nether, it's remembering what happened to Danny, which I can only suspect must have been some sort of accident. Whether Danny was a friend, a brother, or something more, he's gone, and Mason has to accept it. But that's not where this story ends, because what if I told you that these videos weren't in order and you've already seen how this story ends for Mason? Because what comes after acceptance? Well, it's only then that you can truly heal and begin a new world. I mean, don't believe me, just pay attention to the inventories. In fact, the only item that's different in Danny's inventory right before and after the fall is the one item that we suspected he put in the chest all those episodes ago. The rose. The one fragment left of a Minecraft world that destroyed itself.
Absolute cinema. Absolute fucking cinema. Absolutely fucking cinema. I got chills. I got chills, man. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have no words. I got chills. Yo, I got chills. Gang. Gang. I got chills, man. I got fucking chills. Oh my god. Oh my god. I got